Welcome to the Ho-Ho Show.
Rated the #1 most listened to podcast on Pluto. So join us now as we discuss news, politics, current events, and so much more. So clear the airwaves and strap in as we
defend the Constitution, because freedom matters.
Broadcasting live from the Cottage Studio. Welcome to the Ho-Ho Show, and as always, I'm your host, Ho-Ho. How y'all's doing? I hope you're doing good. I really do. So, before we go any further, it pays to read. Sometimes it really does. You know, it pays to try to inform yourself over some of the stuff that you're doing. And I just happened to hit something, a little clicky click button over here. And it said, if you want to increase engagement from your Facebook group, invite your audience to connect their Facebook to Restream to show their name and profile picker. Send your viewers to chat.restream.io/Facebook. And I went ahead and I put that in the chat. Now, here's the thing. When y'all are over there on Facebook, it doesn't show me who you are. All it does is show me, you know, that you're there, or at least that you've, you know, chatted, you joined the chat. It shows me that, but it comes up as like Facebook user. That's all it does. It doesn't give me name, nothing. I don't know who you are. So if you would like to help a brother out, chat.restream.io/Facebook. And that info is in the chat. I went ahead and I put that in there. You guys can head over there and then you can link the two, and there you go. So it's easy. You know, I've got mine linked. You know, it's awesome. It works. It does a great job. So there we go. That is that. Now moving on. Tonight, or I guess technically, tomorrow morning at 2 a.m., it is the whole going into daylight savings time. That tomorrow or early in the morning is the whole fall back. You know, it wasn't until I learned that whole spring forward, fall back, you know, what you do, you know, which, I mean, granted, I learned that quite a while ago. I almost forgot to mute my phone. Let me go ahead and do that. There we go. That's muted. So, yeah, tonight, fall back. Don't forget to do that tonight. You know, your phones will do it automatically. If you have analog, then you'll have to do that manually. Fall back tonight, or at least early in the morning, 2 a.m. And if you're still aggravated that you have to do this, well, you can blame Congress. I seen this article from Axios. And, you know, the whole, you know, clocks fall back tonight. Blame Congress if you are sick of it. And there's a little bit of information in here that I really wasn't aware of, to be honest with you. Now, the, I guess Congress actually voted on this. The House of Representatives voted on this, and they voted to, you know, eliminate it, stay on daylight savings time. all year round, but it is yet to go through the Senate. And I read this, and you can see this in this little section right here with context. A new study in the journal Current Biology, which I've never heard of them, predicts that year-round daylight saving time could prevent 36,550 deer deaths, 33 human deaths, 2,054 human injuries, and $1.19 billion in collision costs annually. I was like, yeah, that's interesting. I don't like the whole daylight savings time anyway. You know, it's a pain. I mean, granted, it only happens twice a year, which is a good thing, but it's kind of a pain. You know, I mean, it really is. You know, I do a lot of analog stuff, so I mean, I got to, you know, change all my clocks and whatnot. Now, I got a friend of mine. I can't talk any specifics, any name, obviously, because we're talking about, you know, health, you know, medication stuff, okay? But let's just say that there are medications out there that are time sensitive. You know, you got to take them at specific times of the day. And during daylight savings time, you know, this individual has to adjust when they're taking their medication. And I believe they got to do this like 2 weeks out is whenever they have to start changing what time they are taking their medication. You know, that they got to change that. They can't just take it. I mean, I guess you can take it at the same time, but I mean, if you're, you know, as in just move the time to where within the same 24-hour period you're doing it. But if you are on a certain type of a set schedule, then you would have to change what time you wake up or adjust your medication the time that you take that. Like 2 weeks out. That's like, holy crap. You know, and there's definitely medications out there that are like that, you know, and I didn't know, you know, I didn't know. And I also didn't know this, that they actually changed this policy a while back ago, because one of the things is, well, let me go ahead and find it. I'm not going to try to do this by memory, you know, I'm not going to try to do that at all. Really, you know, I know I read that. I know I read it. Well, okay. Let's just put it this way. This is something that they did once before. Okay, they did change it. They made it permanent. I don't know if, you know, they made it permanent during regular time or daylight savings time, and I'm going to kind of assume it was done on regular time, summertime time, and it only lasted about a year. Ah, there we go. Flashback. I see it now. In the 1970s, the last time Congress made daylight savings time permanent, the decision was reversed in less than a year after the early morning darkness proved dangerous for school children and public sentiment changed. So instead of just changing the time one more time to daylight savings time, they decided to, you know, just do away with it and then go back to the old way. And that was back in the 70s, which is probably why they are pushing to do, instead of standard time, daylight savings time, to make that permanent. That's probably what they're, you know, why they decided to do that. And in which case, I can understand the sentiment behind that. It's, you know, I mean, if, you know, you got a lot of motorists on the road, children out there, you want to keep the kids safe. I totally understand that, totally get that. I understand why they would make that decision, but at the same time, why didn't you just set it to daylight savings time instead of keeping it on standard time? That would make a little bit of sense to me. But anyway, there you go. Daylight savings time, trying to make that permanent. The House of Representatives did vote on that. But it just hasn't gone through the Senate yet. They're dragging their feet for whatever reason. I don't know. But that's what is going on. But anyway, don't forget, tonight, early in the morning, if you have analog clocks that you got to change, don't forget to change those. Or what you should do is stay up to 2 a.m. Then roll your clocks back to 1 a.m. and you're good to go. Do it at the right time frame. Don't do it tonight before you go to bed. No, there's no fun in that. You got to stay up to 2 o'clock in the morning. That's what we got to do. Anyway, let's go ahead and move on. All right. There is a court decision that is going to the Supreme Court, and there's a lot of discussion going on about this one because this can basically change the face of the country from here on out. Okay. This headline from Slate: Originalism demands only one answer in the Supreme Court's big election case. Now, what is this case that they're talking about? It has to do with the executive branch or the judicial branch changing election laws, instead of the legislative branch doing it. Now, the Democrats are saying that, originalism, this is the way it should be, yada, yada, blah, blah, oversight, what have you. But the fact of the matter is that's just a flat out lie. Okay? Because the Constitution says that the only ones who have the right to change the time, manner, and place, I believe those are the three things in there, is the legislative branch. They're the ones that decide that within the individual states, period. It does not allow any type of oversight from any of the other two branches. It is just the executive branch. Now, the only oversight that it does offer is you cannot discriminate who is able to vote for, whatever reason. Okay? For color, creed, what have you. You cannot discriminate anybody based off of that. Anybody, really, just anything. Doesn't matter. You cannot discriminate. And in which case, good. And even the whole voter ID thing, any state that requires voter ID in order to vote, they offer ID cards free of charge. So people should just get off their high horse whenever they want to talk about, voter ID is discriminative. Why? How? From one election to the next, you have 2 years to figure out how to get to a driver's license facility and get an ID card to where you have it when you need it before you go vote. And you should go vote. Please, go vote. Do that. 2 years. 2 years ago is when the presidential election was. Now we're on the midterm election. 2 years later, they gave you plenty of time to go get a voter ID card free of charge. Where's the debate on this? I have no idea. I don't understand how they can make the claim and expect people to just be stupid enough to believe it, that, this unjustly affects minorities more than anybody else. How? You have 2 years to prep for this. How is this an issue? I don't get it. It's like, what? Do you really expect me to believe that this person, because they're low income, doesn't buy alcohol, doesn't get on a plane, doesn't buy cigarettes, doesn't, go into a government facility because they all require identification. They need to know who you are. You're going to go to the DNC, got to provide identification. The RNC, got to provide identification. Why? I don't get it. I don't get what the big problem is. There are so many things that you have to have identification to do. Get a hotel room, get a credit card, get a bank. Do you mean to tell me that all these people, that all these minorities are working cash under the table, every single one of them, legal or not? We're talking mainly legal because that's the only people that are actually able to vote is United States citizens. So you mean to tell me that every legal citizen gets paid cash under the table, that they don't have a bank account? Because you have to prove who you are in order to get a bank account and in order to do so many different things. You're telling me that? That's just ridiculous. I don't get it. But that is what the Supreme Court is about ready to hear, a case on election laws. Who is it that has the final say on election laws? Now, the Constitution is clear. The legislative branch. And unless we're talking about discrimination, as in a law that is put in place to specifically discriminate against one group or another, then there is no case for discrimination. And they don't want this to go to court because they know that if it does go to court, any of this kind of stuff, the Democrats lose because they can't prove their case. Oh, they may win on the court of public opinion because there's enough people that don't think about things, that don't use the noggin for anything other than a hat rack, and will just believe the lies that they are spoon-fed by the Democrats, by mainstream media, by the like. That's what we have. And I'm definitely interested in how this case may, end up playing out. I really am, for that simple fact. Okay. These judges that were nominated and confirmed during Trump's presidency, considering themselves originalists, how are they going to go on this one, especially considering and taking into account that they refused to hear anything after 2020. And I can't say what it was that they were refusing to hear any cases on, but I think you can pick up what it is I'm throwing down. They didn't want to hear it. So I'm curious to see how they end up ruling on this. I very much am. Moving on. All right, so this next article, now look, I am sure that y'all have been hearing stuff about this. It has been pretty big news since it ended up happening. I'm not exactly sure what day that was. It might have been Wednesday. It might have been Thursday. I'm not 100% sure. Fact of the matter is, I don't care. The headline, and this one is from AmmoLand. Pelosi family becomes victim of own policies during a break-in. Now, there's a couple things to take note in here, okay? You had the 82-year-old Paul Pelosi guy broke into their house, the 42-year-old David DePop. He's a dad, I guess, with a name like DePop. I don't know how you pronounce it. But here's the thing. He was an illegal alien. He didn't belong here. He should have been deported if our federal government, I got to take a drink. Hold on a second. Let me play a little bit of that. And let me take a drink. My voice just went all kind of wonky. Ooh, that was strong. So, if our ICE agents, if Border Patrol, if they actually were able to do their job and affect the laws, enforce the laws that they are sworn to uphold, then this David DePop wouldn't have been here to commit the crime. Just want to throw that out there. And there's been, let me see, there's other headlines in here. Suspect in Paul Pelosi attack was in U.S. illegally, says the Department of Homeland Security. And that is an article from Axios. Apparently he was actually arrested. Oh, wait. Well, he was arrested on the 28th. Maybe that's whenever this ended up happening. I don't remember. I don't know. But here's the thing. There's been kind of hush-hush on information. The things just haven't been adding up and making any sense whatsoever. And, here's the thing, okay? Conspiracy theorists. there's a reason why some of their stuff is so believable whenever you have things like this that they don't want to be open and honest about. You know, how did this guy get in there? We don't know. You know, you're talking the home of the Speaker of the House. Third in line of the president. Now, granted, she wasn't home. He was. But even still, there's security that would be there. How did he get in? From what police say, they walked in on the scene and they seen Paul Pelosi and, you know, the Poppy wrestling on the ground with a hammer. And apparently there was some, you know, bruising and there was head trauma. And apparently there was a fracture, according to one headline that I read last week. And, you know, y'all's article I read last week? I don't know. Whenever the 28th, whenever this happened. Yeah. So that was, you know, last week. Yeah. But the Justice Department, I think it's the Attorney General, either way you look at it, they are not releasing the body cam footage. Why not? You know, what are you afraid of? Why not release it? They're letting people draw their own conclusions. And I'm not saying that we should. And I'm not drawing my own conclusions. All I'm saying merely is opening up the whole aspect, the debate of something looks fishy. I don't know what it is. I don't know what's going on. You know, but it looks fishy. For one reason or another, it looks fishy. What are you protecting him from? He got in. He got woken up. Got attacked. Police showed up for a wellness check. Because apparently during the struggles, somehow, it was, I heard a break-in, you know, called the cops, somebody's in my house, and then wrestling for a hammer. But they showed up for a wellness check. And apparently he was in a state of undress because he just got woken up. There are just details in there that just sound kind of fishy. And all of it would be cleared up if they actually released the body cam footage. Why not release it? What's the secret? What are you hiding? I don't know what that is. I have no idea. I'm not going to speculate. I'm not going to draw my own conclusions. But something seems fishy. I'm not saying that there wasn't an assault that happened. I'm not saying that he wasn't hurt. I'm not saying that he didn't, you know, and he didn't deserve that. Yeah, I'll say that. Why not? But something doesn't quite smell right. Why are they hiding the facts? If they have nothing to hide, why hide it? They're hiding something. Otherwise, they would release it. And then it would make everything make sense. No more issues. The conspiracy theorists wouldn't have anything to base any of their lies upon if the truth actually were to come out. But instead, they're hiding something. What's going on? Something doesn't quite pass the sniffer test. So I'm sure you all have heard about that. Moving on. Speaking of Nancy Pelosi, I seen this article from Newsmax, and I actually have a few of them pulled up here, talking about more or less this very same thing. But from Newsmax, headline, House GOP release a 1,000-page report on politicized Department of Justice under Biden. It's not just the Department of Justice, not just the Attorney General's office, it is also with the FBI, says this article. Not that article. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And then this article, from CNN Politics, Jordan sends letters to Department of Justice and FBI previewing what the GOP-controlled House Judiciary Committee would investigate. So I got into this a little bit. Now, there's a couple things in these articles that I'm wanting to kind of point out to you. Things that seemed pretty interesting, or at least interesting to me. Now, the report, and this is from Judiciary Committee, is basically the rundown, the takeaway, the key points as far as what is included in this report. First, the FBI leadership abusing its law enforcement authority for political reasons. Quit moving. The FBI artificially inflating and manipulating domestic violent extremism statistics for political purposes. The FBI downplaying and reducing the spread of the serious allegations of wrongdoing leveled against Hunter Biden. The Justice Department and the FBI using counterterrorism resources to target parents resisting the far-left educational curriculum. The FBI abusing its foreign surveillance authorities. The Justice Department and FBI conducting an unprecedented raid on a former president's home. I'm going to stop right there for a second. We're on 46 presidents. Okay? A president serves for a possibility of 2 4-year terms, with the maximum that he can serve as 10 years as president of the United States of America. We have had presidents that has only served, a minimal amount of time for one reason or another. Assassination, health, maybe, I don't know. But 4 to 8 years, assuming that president is not impeached or assassinated, that's what every president serves, 4 to 8 years. So we've had 46. Biden makes 46. President Trump was obviously number 45. The one that came right before Biden is 46. So President Trump was number 45. This is the first time in American history that this has happened. This has never happened. This is unprecedented for the Attorney General, for the Department of Justice, for the FBI to raid period, a former president. Never happened. Ever happened. In fact, if you guys want to go back in time about 6 years, whenever President Trump took office, what was he getting told by everybody whenever it came to Hillary Clinton and all of her, her email scandal, the hardware and destroying of government property, hard drives, and the all the crap that she did. Well, she blatantly and obviously and proven by the FBI that she did break the laws, classification laws on all that kind of stuff. She should have gone to prison for breaking those laws. What did President Trump get told? It's really not good form to go after a political opponent. And make no mistake about it, these same things were violated not just by the entirety of the Obama administration, but also by former President Obama and former Vice President at the time, Joe Biden. And what was President Trump told? You really shouldn't do that. You don't go after political opponents. You just don't do that. You don't go after former presidents. You just don't do that. That's what President Trump was told. And to appease, that's what he did. Even though, since day one, getting attacked by the Department of Justice and the FBI for what we know now to be completely 100% fabricated, made up, a blatant lie with Russia collusion, and they still talk about Russia collusion. They won't let it go. Even though they know it's a lie, they know it's fake, they know it didn't happen. If anything, it was done by the opposition, aka Hillary Clinton. And still, that's all they want to talk about. Okay. Never before in our history has a president been treated like this. They went from nuclear secrets, classified documents, to he might have something, to we have to search to find out what it is that he has, to maybe we can get him on obstruction. Did you hear what I said there? They went from he definitely has something to maybe we can get him on obstruction. Doesn't that sound like the Mueller report? Doesn't that sound like what they tried to do with Russia collusion? That there was nothing there? After how many millions of dollars spent wasting FBI time trying to do... And people wonder why we really just want to dismantle the whole thing and start from scratch all over again. I mean, that's what I want to do. I don't want to fire all these people. I don't want to pull an Elon Musk, fire all of the top executives, and wipe out half of the working section of the entire company. I don't even want to do that with the FBI. I want to just burn the whole thing to the ground and start from scratch. Get rid of every one of them people, send them to the unemployment line, and then let them see how it feels to be. That's what I want to do. You're lucky I'm not president, because that's exactly what I do. Disavow the entire thing, get rid of every last one of them, because they have all violated their oaths of office, especially the higher ups, and they do not operate the way they were intended. You have the means by which to do away with every last one of them. The only question is, do you have the marbles, the cojones, the intestinal fortitude to actually carry through and do it? That's the question. That's the question. Moving on. Oh yeah, and by the way, Obama could have easily had all this crap happen to him, but they didn't do it. Instead, they go after Trump. Okay. Moving on. We're on number 7. Let me get in that. There you go. The FBI stalking a Republican congressman on a family vacation to seize his personal cell phone. And they didn't even do that just to a congressperson. They did that to other people as well. The guy from Project Veritas, they did it to him. I forget what his name is, but they did it to him too. Number 8, the Justice Department and the FBI continuing to allow attacks on pro-life facilities and churches to go unabated while pushing an anti-left agenda. I want to move on, just put this article on pause, and I'm going to move on to this article over here. This one from National Review. Let me go ahead and click onto it. House Republicans release extensive report detailing the FBI politicization. Let's scroll on down a little bit, and what do we see here? As soon as I get back to it, because I had to scroll up in order to find it. There we go. This paragraph right here, like the last one. The report also argues that the FBI has turned a blind eye to escalating violence targeting pregnancy centers in the wake of the overturning of Roe v. Wade in May of 2022. Despite the Department of Homeland Security warning of attacks against Supreme Court justices, public officials, healthcare providers, and clergy, the report argues the FBI failed to protect them, citing dozens of examples of specific incidents in the report's appendix. So it's not like they didn't know any of this was going on. They did know. They had the intelligence. They did nothing. Why? Because it went against the agenda of the left, of whom they're in their pocket. Because the left is controlling them, telling them what to do. They're not an impartial body, an investigative body. They're not. They're a political hit team. That's all they are now, is a political hit team. What? Really? Moving on. Back to the article. Which one are we on now? There we go, number 8. So number 9, the FBI conducting an intelligence assessment of a conservative charity under the guise of investigating unrelated alleged crimes. Number 10, the FBI purging employees who refuse to align themselves with the leadership's political ideology. Did you hear that one as well? They're kind of doing the same thing in the military too. Pushing people out, forcing people to see it their way, and then getting treated like hell if you don't. But I'm going to read that one again. The FBI purging employees who refuse to align with the leadership's political ideology. Meaning if you're a conservative, if you're a Republican, they're pushing you out. They're terminating your employment. They're getting rid of you. Why? Because they want nice little robots that all have the same mentality to go after the people that they want to go after. Why would they be doing this if they weren't doing this for political purposes? No, you mean to tell me that only Democrats, only leftists, only communists and socialists are good at investigating crime? I mean, is that what you're saying? That there are not anybody on the right that's good at investigating crime? I mean, is that really what you're going to try to tell me? That there's a reason for this other than a political one? Bravo, Sierra. That's all there is to it. Moving on, number 11. The FBI helping big tech to censor Americans' political speech. And we're actually going to get into that a little bit later, whenever we move on from this and start talking about Elon Musk and Twitter. But this also reared its ugly head, earlier in this, where we were talking about on number 3 with Hunter Biden, because it was the FBI that went to Facebook and said, hey, there's some false information about ready to get released. Now, here's the thing. I don't believe for 1 second that they ever thought it was misinformation. They knew it was real. They knew it was true. I mean, do you honestly think that Hunter Biden, upon waking up from his drunken crackhead confusion, that he didn't finally sober up in a relatively timely manner and go, where's my computer? Oh, holy crap. What did I do with it? Oh, here's this receipt. I wonder if it's here. I'm going to call up Dad because we need to fix this now. Do you actually believe for 1 second that didn't happen? So they knew. Oh, yeah, and by the way, it's 100% confirmed the laptop is genuine. It's the real deal. And there is a lot of evidence outlining crimes committed by the Biden family. All kinds of evidence. Not just Hunter, but good old Papa sniffing Biden too. And Joe Biden's brother. I don't remember what his name is. He's not important enough for me to remember. But they have proof, evidence, right there on the laptop. Are they investigating it? No. They're doing damage control. to try to keep Hunter out of prison and Biden in the White House. If it was anybody else, if it was a Republican, crucified by now. Crucified. End of discussion. No ifs, no ands, no buts. Done. Over with. Moving on. You know, in this article, it talks about the National Review article. It talks about Zucker, you know, what I just got done talking about. And then there's this article from CNN Politics. I kind of hinted on this one a little bit before too. Okay. But the warning that was issued to the FBI, Jordan added, because this is, you know, Jordan, he sends letters to, you know, blah, blah, blah. That Republicans intend to continue to examine these matters, including into the 118th Congress, if necessary. I'm going to boil this down to you. We're going to get real simple. We're going to get real honest. We're going to get real straight. That is what terrifies the left. They are terrified about this because they know the games they've been playing. They absolutely know that they have been doing things that are illegal. And when they are in power, they can do whatever the heck they want to because nothing's going to happen. They're the ones that are in power. They don't worry about a small, tiny thing called prison. How many people have died from the Clinton mob family? Quite a few. The political mobsters in general, quite a few people have died. Jeffrey Epstein being one of them. They are not worried about prison. Hillary Clinton broke the law in the mishandling of classified documents. Did she go to prison? No. Was she drawn and quartered for treason? No. None of that happened. They're not concerned because they're the ones that are in power. And whenever they're the ones that are in power, they're the ones that are able to control the flow of information. That's why they've been doing a lot of the things that they've been doing with how they handled President Trump, how they handled Flynn, to how they handled a lot of these other people, Project Veritas people, how they handled Steve Bannon, how they've handled so many people. So many people. You know, it was even rumored and speculated that the entire reason that they went into the Mar-a-Lago residence wasn't to look for classified documents. It was to get a hold of and seize all of the potentially damaging information that President Trump had on all these people. On Biden, on Obama, on Hillary Clinton, the entirety of the Obama administration, really. The entire cabinet. On people high up on the FBI. Who knows? The CIA and others. It's rumored that's why they went in there. And with how they've been conducting themselves, it makes a lot of sense. I'm not saying it is. I'm not saying it isn't. But why else did they go in there? They didn't find what they were looking for. They are terrified of President Trump. They are terrified to lose the upcoming election. Do you want to find out what's been going on? Get out and vote. Vote your conscience. Do it. There's a lot of organizations out there that can't tell you. I'm going to go ahead and tell you, vote for a Republican. Don't vote for a Democrat. Even if you're voting for a rhino Republican, I mean, still vote for him. I mean, why? And you're never going to hear me say that ever again. But still vote for him. Why? Because at least with the rhino Republican, there's going to be a little bit, you know, there's going to be some party appeasement in there, but it's still a better option than to flat out put a Democrat in there, because at least instead of Nancy Pelosi being the Speaker of the House, at least you're going to have somebody else. It might not be a whole heck of a lot better, but it's still better than her. And granted, guys, I mean, you know, and this is the whole crux of the entire show, you know, with the whole, you got to get out and vote. You got to get out. There's so many things that are at stake. Dismantling as much as we possibly can. Actually, you know what? That's not even what's at stake on this election. What's at stake on this election? Do you like the current trajectory? Do you like what's going on nationally? Do you like the inflation? Do you like the high fuel prices? Do you like the high crime? Do you like criminals with the catch and release, you know, just being able to do their crime, second-degree murder, assault, assaulting a police officer? Do you like all that? Do you like the riots? Do you like all that? Do you like the inflation? Do you like having to spend more everywhere you go, no matter what it is you're buying, the price of everything? Do you like that? Because that's what's at stake. That's what's going on. That's what we're voting on. That's what we're voting on. We're not voting on cleaning house in the FBI. That ain't going to happen. You know, I mean, I don't want to say it's impossible that the red wave is so huge that we end up getting a super majority that is veto proof. No, I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is we can stop their agenda, the Democrat agenda. We can stop Biden's agenda dead in its tracks if we actually get the House and the Senate back from the Democrats. That's what I'm saying. That's what's at stake on this election. Go through and do some investigation, like what Jim Jordan and some others with this 1,000-page document, with actually investigating these people, putting them on notice that eventually we're going to get this back. And you've taught us very well that we need to, even if it's by fiat, do these congressional hearings. Because we got some crap to dig up. You know it. We know it. We're going to bring it to the light. We're going to let all the American people see what you guys have been up to. And let's see if they still like what you represent whenever they find all this stuff out. I mean, you know, all the information is there. All you got to do is just have the wherewithal to actually look it up for yourself. But, yeah. And since we talked about the economy, this article from Fox News. Our economic crisis isn't inflation. It's corporate greed. And the GOP will only make that worse. And then there's this article. Top economists at major global bank says corporate profits are fueling inflation. I call Bravo Sierra. A lot of Bravo Sierra. Because, yeah, prices are going up. But from a truck driver who sees what it costs to fuel a semi right now, they have to. I mean, good grief. Any product you buy from a store, you know, you go to Walmart, you buy something, every single product on there, on that shelf, has seen at least, bare minimum, it's been on 5 trucks. 5 trucks, bare minimum. Semis, 53-footers, or, you know, maybe pup trailers, you know, either way you look at it, a minimum of 5. Minimum. And just so you know, it's way more than that. Way more than that. Because, you know, I mean, let's just say you're buying this, okay? There's a big old list of ingredients because you have, you know, this going to a packaging warehouse. You have the label itself that's going to a packaging warehouse. You have the ink in here that came from a packaging warehouse. They got to print the labels. You got the glueness on here, the stickiness, the bottle itself that comes from different places. Sometimes they're together, but they're always shipped separate. Because they're bought separate, but they might be shipped within the same thing. Like buying it from Uline, but even still, you got the packaging that it came in. That's paper. You're talking wood pulp. You're talking a place to actually print it out in the rolls to where they can form it, do whatever they want to, and put it in boxes. But with all the ingredients on here, every single one of them are coming in on trucks. I would be surprised if the amount of trucks that this one thing was on was anything less than 20. I would be surprised. This product got to the storefront a bare minimum of 20 semis. Now, granted, it's a per unit price. I understand that. But 20 trucks? That's a lot of fuel. Diesel is expensive. The price of shipping goes up. The price of everything goes up. 20 semis. If you got it delivered straight to a warehouse or straight from a warehouse, guess what? You might be talking 19 instead of 20. That only takes one out of it. That's it. Because it's still going from one distribution warehouse to another distribution warehouse. And who knows, maybe even more. But just saying. 20 trucks was involved in this. That's a lot of cost. It's a lot of shipping cost. Shipping costs money. When the price of shipping goes up, the price of everything goes up. Hello. Do you not understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? Anyway, we still got more crap to get to, guys. We really do. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break. When I return, we are going to be talking about Musk and Twitter. I'm so excited about this, guys, because I am sure that everybody is aware that Elon Musk came in, Miley Cyrus style, came in like a wrecking ball, carrying the kitchen sink whenever he took control of things over at Twitter, and things has not been the same since. And we're going to go ahead and talk about it right after this.
Do you love your occasional Mexican dish or your musical fruit? Are you tired of walking by family members and crop dusting them? Well, if this has ever happened to you, might I introduce you to Tampons brand butt plugs. Tampons brand butt plugs is that particular type of butt plug that allows you to walk in public in confidence knowing that you're not going to accidentally crop dust somebody. Tampons brand butt plugs now with the plastic applicator.
Not just for women anymore.
Tampons brand butt plugs.
I'm coming. Okay, here we go. Whew. So we have got all kinds of things to talk about dealing just with this whole, Elon Musk taking over of the Twitterverse. I am excited to get into this. I have got so many articles. I'm hoping this all flows good. But before I get into all that, hello, Dave over there in Spreakerland. Good to have you aboard, sir. Awesome. And he writes in here, he goes, hey, I finally made it a Saturday night and I got free to listen. That is awesome. And he also puts in here, he goes, you can't move and improve an economy at $6 a gallon. It can't work. And I absolutely agree with you. Absolutely. And then this one too, this one cracked me up, and he is so right on this. He writes, how cool would it be to make a documentary about the truth of how the economy works? All the fingers, printing of products, all the trucking, and I mean all of it. People would absolutely be astonished to learn how things work. And I completely agree with you, Dave. I really do. I completely agree with you. I only know as much as I know because I've been involved in various forms of the manufacturing product. Okay. Being a truck driver, you see a lot of it. I've worked for a farmer hauling corn and whatnot to, like Frito-Lay for them to make it into chips. I've hauled big old rolls of paper from a place that, wood pulp. They make the big, huge rolls of paper. Like you can only fit like 5 or 6 of them on your truck. I think this one, they fit like 8 or 9. I mean, they weren't huge, but believe me, they were still pretty big, So, I mean, in one way, shape, or form, from beginning to end with certain products, not with all of them, but I've been involved in start to finish on a lot of different things. Working at a packaging warehouse where we mixed various things together to make things like packaged sweetener, bottled oil, cooking oil. The company that I work for that hauls big oversized rolling pins for food production. In one way, shape, or form, whether it be in trucking life or whether it be in personal life, just, work life in general, I've been involved and have seen a lot of what goes into to have a very good fundamental understanding of just how much goes into manufacturing something even as simple as sweetener. Holy cow. It's not a simple, easy endeavor, process. It's not. But we've figured it out. All this gets done behind the scenes. And the average person is oblivious to what goes on. And you're right, Dave. I would love to see some type of a documentary like that. I'd love to do a documentary like that. That would be pretty stinking awesome. That would definitely be pretty awesome. So let's go ahead and continue into this. Now, like I said, we've got a lot to cover on this one. This entire segment, we're just going to be talking about Musk. That is it. He is the entirety of this entire thing. There's a lot of different articles that I'm going to cover. I'm going to get through it relatively quick. It shouldn't take me that long to go through this, but let's go ahead and get into it. This article from MRC Newsbusters, a threat to free speech. Media meltdown over Musk Twitter deal. Now, whenever I said before the break that, Elon Musk came in with the kitchen sink. Oh, he did. There's video of it. But he went in there and he just started cleaning house. This article from the Daily Wire. Battle Bird. Musk warns of thermonuclear war against companies caving to far left boycott demands. This article, we're going to kind of go through these a little quick. All right, let me go ahead and big screen it. Elon Musk decries massive drop in revenue as advertisers withdraw from Twitter. You know, that's one of the things, all right? Then, and a lot of this is in order. One leads to another, okay? One leads to another. Because of the withdrawal, Musk threatens to name shame advertisers who back out of Twitter. And that article is from Business Standard. This article from The Wrap. Elon Musk blocks top marketer who questioned Twitter's retreat from content moderation. Excuse me. Yes, all this is important. It all builds on top of another. This article from Politico. Elon Musk triggers Twitter chaos with mass firings worldwide. Not just top executives. This article from CNBC, The Peacock. Thank you, Linda. Elon Musk tweets Twitter offered 3-month severance, but Indian staff got a 2-month deal. Offering a severance package for people that he was letting go. This article from US Today. Twitter sued for mass layoffs with 0 notice days after Elon Musk's takeover. I call BS on that one, but we'll get into that later. This one from Fox News. Joe Biden takes on Elon Musk and Twitter's new content moderation. Spies like all across the world. This headline from Wion, W-I-O-N. Never heard of them, but this headline says, and this is great, this is amazing, you're going to love this. Your feedback is appreciated. Now pay $8. Elon Musk, epic reply to U.S. politician over verification charge. That is absolutely hilarious. This headline from Bazinga. Criticizing Elon Musk will lead to your Twitter account going bad. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez alleges that's exactly what happened to her. Welcome to the club, honey. This article from CBS News, the eyeball. Ooh, really? 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 CNBC is the peacock. CBS is the eyeball. All right. This one says Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez claims that her Twitter account has experienced difficulties following feud with Elon Musk. I know that was a lot of articles to go through. So let's go ahead and kind of go back through them and talk about them a little bit more into detail. Now, just so you know, all of my articles are available at thehohoshow.com. Just click on that newsfeed tab. You'll see my magazine on Flipboard. Title, the date, all of it is right there. This way you can look at these articles for yourself. You can follow along. You can fact check me. But the point is, every article that I reference in the shows, every single one of them, and there's like 80 plus stinking magazines in here. I mean, there really are. I'm actually kind of curious now that I brought it up. How many magazines are there? I mean, there's got to be like 80 plus of them. I mean, I think last time I counted, there was like 80, 84, 85 maybe. I'm looking. There is, oh wow, a lot more than what I thought. There's 158 magazines that I've curated, I've put together for the sake of transparency on every article that I use in the show. That's just how I do it. That's how I roll, man. I like to be transparent. I want you to know where I get my articles. Very much so. But moving on. So the media meltdown. That's what we're starting on this one. Back at Newsbusters, back at the very beginning, a threat to free speech, media meltdown over Musk Twitter deal. Because again, what the left loves more than anything is power. The power to control the narrative. And what they have had for far too long is 100% control of that narrative through, mainstream media, through social media, squashing debate, not allowing facts to come to the foreground and to be spread, calling it misinformation if it dares to go against the narrative. That's what happens. The mainstream media, different news organizations, they might talk about news, but they talk about it in such a way that it is limited in the facts, and the only facts they let out are the ones that actually support their narrative. Outside of that, no. They don't care. They couldn't be bothered because it doesn't support their narrative. The left loves power. And the left, for far too long, has been in control of the flow of information, the narrative of what goes on. And mainstream media has allowed it to happen. They've allowed it to happen. And whenever Elon Musk took control, now one, I don't know why any of these employees are surprised about this, okay? This ordeal has been going on for a while. I mean, hell, the board of directors of Twitter, they forced this onto him. Because I want you to remember a little bit. It was, he went in, he made the deal, after being offered a position on the board to limit his ownership of stocks. They said, well, you put this offer on the table, and then all kinds of things started changing in Twitter. A lot of the bots went bye-bye. A lot of things happened. The real numbers were starting to come out. We've heard a lot of whispers on how the company was ran, how the employees who worked at that company operated, how they didn't really work at all. All they did was target people, look at personal information, and basically did just whatever the heck that they wanted to. All this information has come out. That Twitter is horrible whenever it comes to the security of their website because they're more interested in giving people bonuses and the like, and more into shutting down the debate on the public forum. That's where their money went. They couldn't be bothered to invest in security. So much has been coming out that it was very, very clear that the company was not worth anything close to what the original offer was. And that original offer was based off of the idea that Twitter cared about security. Even if it wasn't the privacy of their users, but cared about the site's privacy to try to keep hackers away, that they cared about that at least. But then it was the users that were so bloated because of bots and the like that they found out that the usership wasn't where it was. And I don't know if Musk wanted to completely get rid of the deal, as in shut the thing down completely and entirely, or if he was trying to, put himself into a better position to negotiate a lower price. That to me makes a lot of sense. We're going to negotiate a lower price, and whenever they absolutely refuse the lower price, that's whenever Musk is like, okay, fine, I'm done. I ain't doing this. And then they forced him into it. And why they didn't classify it as a breach of contract that Twitter did, I have absolutely no idea. But they ticked him off. And it's pretty clear that they ticked him off with how Elon Musk has responded to this whole thing. He came in like a wrecking ball. He fired the top executives. He fired 50% of the staff. Why? Because most of them didn't actually do anything anyway. They came up with creative ways to make it look like they were, doing something, and they still got paid for it. This is something that has come out from reports of people who used to work at Twitter. And again, this shouldn't have been a surprise to anybody. So why are they, doing the whole, suing a class action lawsuit against Elon Musk and Twitter over zero notice of termination? Hello? What? You're going to come public and say things like, we don't actually work and earn our paycheck, and then you're surprised whenever you knew for quite some time that Elon Musk was coming. Why are you surprised? Why are you surprised that a businessman is going to make a decision that is good for his business by clearing out the people that are not good for his business? Don't agree with the direction that he wants that company to go. It's pretty clear. It's pretty obvious. Why they were all up in arms about it, I have no idea. Why they're surprised about it, I have no idea. I mean, I do. All these babies, of course I do. I understand. I get it. Duh. For the same reason that the left likes to be in bed with Zuckerberg, because they like controlling the narrative. And then back to this article with Fox Business. Joe Biden takes on Elon Musk and Twitter's new content moderation spews lies. I can read real, I can, all across the world. Now, why would Joe Biden say something like that? Calling Elon Musk out or claiming that with this new content moderation that they're spewing lies. I had read in an article, I don't know which article it was that I read it in, but basically Biden was mad. He was very, very, very mad. Not just Biden, but basically all kinds of people on the left. They were upset. They were ticked. Their butt was hurt. Why? Because during one of the speeches that President Biden did, they fact-checked him. And they called him out on every lie that came out of his mouth. And believe me, there was a lot of them. And Twitter called him out. They're losing their power on their control of the narrative. And they don't like it. They don't like it at all. Back to this WeOn article. Your feedback is appreciated, but now pay $8. Elon Musk's epic reply to U.S. politician over verification charge. This one cracked me up because here's one of the things that Elon Musk put into play at Twitter. You want a blue check mark? You want the prestige of having a blue check mark, a verified account? Then you're going to pay for it. Why pay for it? Well, let's see. We're losing advertisers. We don't have the users that I originally thought to drive the numbers. We're getting rid of all that crap. No more bots on Twitter. And they need to make money. These things don't run on unicorns, rainbows, good looks, good intentions, or false platitudes and lies. That's not what keeps the lights on. That's not what keeps these servers going. So for all of that, Elon Musk had to become creative with his revenue stream with Twitter. So now if you want that blue check, if you want the prestige, if you want all of that, you're going to have to pay for it. I don't remember where I read it, but something that she said that, oh, I guess free speech isn't free. Well, no, free speech never is free. If you think that free speech is free, then you never have, nor do you know anybody or are related to anybody that has served in the military. Then you would know that free speech is definitely not free. I know that's not what she's talking about. But, well, let's just put it this way. Even over on Facebook, free speech isn't free. I mean, one, that's assuming you have free speech, but they're selling your information left and right to marketers. You're a commodity that they are selling to advertisers. Well, when the advertisers are pulling out of Twitter because, they're in the pocket of the big government, of the corporate left, and just the socialists and the communists out there anyway, he's got to get money somehow. So no, free speech isn't free. That's one of the things that I've talked about on previous episodes, is that I would love for a free speech company to come out and overthrow and overtake YouTube. That would be amazing. I would love that. But it would be expensive. You would have to pay for it because traffic drives revenue. Advertising is going to cost money one way or the other. Either you are going to pay a huge amount to produce content. You're going to pay some type of an amount to watch content and consume content, or all of your information from both users and content creators are going to be highly sold and marketed. You have to make money somewhere because these servers are not cheap. Believe me, if they were, I would have a server. I would be hosting my own websites, email, all kinds of things. It would be amazing. I would love to do that. But it's expensive. So, poor Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, I got to spend $8 to keep my blue check mark because I matter. Okay. And then she claims that her Twitter account has experienced difficulties following feud with Elon Musk, which I thought was absolutely hilarious too. Because, one, welcome to the club, honey. Conservatives and Republicans has been singled out, banned, silenced, restricted for a very long time. And you're just now getting a taste of it and you don't like it? Why is she doesn't have near the traffic? Oh, well, see, the bots are gone, honey. I mean, I have heard that there are so many big name conservatives that their numbers on Twitter has skyrocketed in recent days since the takeover. And you have Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez saying that she's having a hard time with her stuff being seen by people. Do you think that there's a lot of people out there that really, really, really want to give free speech a shot? I do. I think so. I very much think so. So I'm going to be keeping my eye out on this thing. I really am. And who knows, I might even start using Twitter on a more regular basis, or at least more of a semi-regular basis. Because I'm going to be honest with you, I don't use it a lot. It's not really a platform that I go to. It's just not. But with the current state of affairs, with Elon Musk taking it over and wanting free speech to really grab a hold, not speech that is politically motivated, but actual free speech. Oh, I'm excited. If it actually happens the way I hope that it is, and I hope that all you are looking to as well, then it's going to be awesome. And for those of you that may think that some of these big giants out there like Facebook is just too big to fail, their numbers have been plummeting recently. And I'm actually kind of curious to see what their numbers look like going forth. Once we see things kind of settle down and these different policies take into effect over there at Twitter, to see how things actually play out, I will be surprised that, if Facebook still is able to keep the lights going. If another social media giant doesn't kind of come up through the weeds. Whether it be Locals, whether it be Rumble, whether it be Truth Media, which I would love to see actually just come to Android, for crying out loud. But anyway, I'd love to see that. They've lost a butt ton of money. Facebook has. A lot. And the Democrats are running scared because here they see them losing control on social media, that they might not be able to control the narrative in the upcoming election. Tuesday, people, get out and vote. Go in Monday if you can't make it in Tuesday. Go first thing in the morning. This way it's done and it's taken care of. We need to stop what is going on, and we need to stop it now. Just a couple minutes and I'll be right back. We're almost done. Woohoo!
Have you ever had an ailment that a normal over-the-counter remedy just couldn't fight? If this is the case, then boy, have I got the solution for you. Tussin. That's right, Tussin. Cough? Tussin. Cold? Tussin. Runny nose? Tussin. Itchy watery eyes? Tussin. Broken leg? Tussin. Tussin is the ultimate cure-all, guaranteed to stop anything that ails you. Tussin, available wherever OTCs are sold.
All right, and we are back. We are doing the last segment. And as I promised, we are going to be talking about the election. And again, we're going to kind of do a speed round with information, but we are going to be talking about this stuff. And again, you can head on over to thehohoshow.com. Just click on that newsfeed tab. And there is my magazine on Flipboard, my go-to hub, my one-stop shop for anything, everything, and all things news. All of my information, all of the articles that I get all this stuff from, that's where it's located. Feel free to fact check me. Follow along. Look at the articles. There you have it. Now let's go ahead and get into this. Now, kind of rewinding just a little bit, getting back into the last segment. This article from the Daily Wire, I referenced this, but I didn't bring up the article from the Daily Wire. Joe Rogan, let me try to pull that up. Joe Rogan laughs at leftists declaring that they'll leave Twitter over lack of censorship as Biden gets fact-checked. Yes. They're mad because Biden got fact-checked. Why are you mad, bro? I thought we didn't like misinformation. I thought we didn't like people to be misled into believing a lie. I thought this was super important because people might get their panties in a bunch and there might be riots and violence because of these lies. So we have to make sure that there is no misinformation going on. And yet they're all mad because they're not controlling the narrative. Oh. Unlike Facebook. This headline from the Daily Caller. And I hope you pay attention to this article because it is very telling. Facebook allegedly gives the FBI users info without their consent. Apparently. Now, I don't know if this is in reference to yeah. I don't know if this is in relation, doesn't really say. The article that I had brought up, I don't know, several weeks back, that, that Facebook basically had stuff just kind of at the ready, waiting for a warrant to come along. I don't know if this is in relation to that one. The only thing that I'm really seeing in here is stuff about the Steele dossier, the source, talking about the 1,000-page report, why they're throwing this kind of stuff in there. I don't know, with whistleblowers, this, that, and the other, but yeah. So I'm not exactly sure where this headline is even coming from. But anyway, yeah, FBI allegedly gives the FBI users' info without their consent. That's amazing, right? That's what we want, isn't it? For the FBI to have all of our user information about everybody that we talk to on social media, everything that we say to these people on social media, their locations, our search history, what we buy, everything. I mean, isn't that what we want? I mean, come on now, according to the left, if you have nothing to hide, then there shouldn't be any problems whatsoever with them constantly watching you in a nanny state and, having their fingers all up in your business. Right? I mean, isn't that what we get told? Okay. This headline from The Guardian. Oh, wait, never mind. This is something that I heard. I was wondering why that thing was up. This is something that I heard a while back ago, and it was something that was absolutely appalling in talking about this whenever I heard this, okay? But this headline from The Guardian. White women have been voting against their reproductive interests for years. Now, where this is coming from is, I think it was The View, maybe. You know, they were talking about how, you know, like suburban Republican voters are going to be voting Republican. And it's like, you know, that's like people, that's like a roach voting for Raid. Okay, that's more or less what they said. I don't remember the exact words, but basically saying that, or comparing Republican women voters to cockroaches. That's the analogy that they drew up. You know, it's nice to know where Republicans stand and conservatives stand in the eyes of Democrats, in the eyes of the left. That we're no better than cockroaches. You know, that's kind of nice. You know, it makes me feel good about myself. Makes me feel all warm and fuzzy inside. Does it you? I hope it does. You know, deplorables, this, that, and the other, now calling women who vote Republican cockroaches. Okay. But here's a couple things that they don't want to tell you. All right. Now here's the thing. Now we talked about this a little bit on the last week's episode. But what the left is trying to make the argument about, one of which being Roe versus Wade, the pro-life versus pro-choice debate. That's what they're trying to say it is. And with, you know, women who vote Republican voting against their reproductive interests. And of which case, here's a little bit of a history lesson, okay? Let me square it up for you, all right? The left, the Democrats, the liberals, the communist socialists, you know, all of them, you know, they would have you believe that they want and they promote democracy. I mean, that's after all, that's in their name, Democrat, right? You know, so you would think that that's what they would promote. Well, what is democracy? Well, in short, it's mob rule, but we're not getting into that aspect of it, you know, because mob rule is bad, right? You know, that's, you know, mob rule is two wolves and a sheep voting on what's for dinner. That's bad. You know, mob rule democracy is two pedophiles and a mother voting over age of consent. That's bad. Okay. I mean, that's not even the aspect that I'm talking about on here. What I'm talking about is Democrats promote democracy. Democracy is the majority gets basically the rulings that they want. But now here's the funny thing, this is the pathetic thing, if the people don't want the same thing that the Democrats want, and they find this out through the democratic process, then what the Democrats love to do, and this is why the Democrats love to be in charge of the courts, of the Supreme Courts and the lesser courts, because if they can't get it through the Democrat process, which they claim to be huge proponents of, then they take their issues to the Supreme Court. That's what they do. Don't believe me? That's how we got Roe versus Wade in the first place. Well, you didn't know? You didn't do your history on Roe versus Wade? Why am I not surprised? The Democrats really don't like to look at history at all. Because if they did, they would know that the majority of the people didn't want, did not support, they did not vote for abortion on demand. It wasn't a pro-life thing that they won. And since the Democrats lost in the democratic process, they took it to the courts, and the courts said, okay, fine. Pro-choice, Democrat-controlled Supreme Court. But even the Democrat-controlled Supreme Court did not support abortion on demand. Even they believed in restricting it, limiting it, saying that there needs to be guidelines put in place. And even Democrats, well-known Democrats like Ruth Bader Ginsburg, even said something to the effect of, I don't remember her words exactly, so don't quote me, but even she said that you did this wrong. If this was a direction you wanted to go, you should have done this in Congress, not in the courts. I mean, let's face it. The judicial branch, the Supreme Court, their job isn't to make laws. They call that writing laws from the bench. That's not their job. That's not what they do. They should have heard that case and said, hey, look, we have no business on this. This isn't our argument to decide. This isn't any of that. If you want this to be decided, this has to be decided on a state level. We don't want anything to do with it. And that's what the whole Dobbs argument was about in the first place. It's not their argument to have. That's what the Constitution says. That's what the 10th Amendment says, because this isn't a power that was specifically given to the federal government. Therefore, it resides in the hands of the states and the people therein. It's not their fight. Because the job of the Supreme Court is to defend not a political party, not the legislative branch, not the executive branch. Their job is to defend the Constitution. And hello, Brian, over there in YouTube land. He goes, sorry I'm late. Was listening to President Trump. What's up? Not much, man. How you doing? President Trump was on? Oh, no. I'm going to have to go back and listen to that. He was, oh, shoot, where was he? Wasn't he like with Oz? Wasn't he doing that today? Or I thought that was actually yesterday, but I could be wrong. Yeah, so not much, man. Just going through everything and on the last segment now. So yeah, good times. I mean, hey, the replay is always up and available whenever, at the end of the show. I mean, it's not always up and available, but it will be up and available after the show. So yes. All right, moving on and continuing. So yeah, when the Democrats don't get their way using the Democrat process, what they do is, well, apparently I can't pull up this one. Is what they do is they go to they go to the left, a left-leaning court. Oh boy, that was a mistake. They go to a left-leaning court and they rule by fiat. That's what they do. I just closed out my Flipboard. I apologize. I'm working on bringing that back up now because there is an article that I was like, oh no. Oh yeah, from the Washington Post, Obama stumped for blah, 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 blah. Okay, that's the article. And I I definitely clicked the wrong one on that one. There it is. So this headline is from Washington. I think it says it's from Politico. Oh yeah, okay. So talking about Obama and Biden rallying for Fetterman and Trump to stump for Oz. And that is from the Washington Post, but I thought that was a different one. Oh, okay. All right. So yeah, never mind. Moving on. Now, one of the things that's been coming up and has been getting talked about, and we talked about this a little bit earlier, talking about, or whenever I was referencing with the different election laws with what the Supreme Court is going to be hearing soon, talking about who actually does have the power whenever it comes to, these election laws. Is it He-Man and the Master of the Universe, or is it Skeletor? I have the power. Who is it that has control over these election laws? And the Constitution clearly says that the election laws, time, manner, place, is controlled by the legislative branch of each individual states. That's what the Constitution says. It is clear. It does not grant any type of authority, oversight, input that the Congress has to take into account and base their decision off of from any other branch. Nothing, nowhere. In fact, the only oversight that is even talked about in there is against discrimination. That is it. And it must be proven discrimination, not just perceived discrimination. And that is why they have never brought any of these claims to court, because they know, as in the left, the Democrats, the socialists, the communists, they know that they cannot win and prove their arguments of discrimination. That's why they don't take them to court, at least an actual court. They won't do it. They refuse. Because they know that they can't prove their case. They talk about discrimination. Oh, we can't have voter ID because that discriminates against poor people, against black people. They are disproportionately affected by these ID laws. We can't be having that. Really, prove it. They can't. They know they lose. That's why they don't do it. And you have this article from the Daily Wire, which is why voter identification is important. Left-wing PBS, NBC reporter has been illegally voting in Florida. Complaint accuses. I don't know why they write stupid articles like that. It makes no sense to me. Why can't you just write in English? People, do you speak it? Hello. Anyway, illegally voting in Florida. Huh. Why didn't they catch that down in Florida? Could it be because certain people, the courts or whomever down in Florida, said that, no, you can't clean up your voter registry rolls. You can't use change of address forms in order to clean up your voter rolls. You can't use death certificates in order to clean up your voter rolls. You can't do that because, heaven forbid, we have a dead person that can't vote. Heaven forbid we have somebody who moved from one district to another, can't vote multiple times. Heaven forbid we do any of this. We can't discriminate against people that move and against people that die. We can't discriminate against these people. Maybe that's why it's important that we do this. And a big surprise also happened, and this article comes from the Associated Press. Oprah delivers November surprise, endorses Fetterman over Oz. Why am I not surprised? And man, I tell you what, I mean, has anybody heard any of the debate between him and Oz? Has anybody heard anything on that? Because I tell you what, dude, if it wasn't for the sheer fact that I don't know how to word this and make this not make me sound like a complete jerk. But I mean, on one hand, I feel sorry for the guy, Fetterman. Okay. It's been a little over 6 months before his stroke, and he is not 100%. Okay. Now, maybe this is an aspect of he's okay in the head, but there's some crossed wires to where he can't speak it clearly, decisively, and in a way that people can understand him. That's possible. That is possible. But when your job is to represent the people in the district that you represent, and you have to do this on the Senate floor, in the House of Representatives, or wherever, whenever, in the Oval Office, wherever you're at, when your job is to convey ideas, principles, policies, to debate, when that is your job to communicate decisively and intelligibly, something that I have a hard time doing, then we have issues. I heard something. Okay, but anyway, we have issues. Okay? We have issues. The man still ain't right. He needs to and should have stepped down. That's what needed to happen. Period. End of story. He's got no business being on that debate stage. I mean, it is very telling when you have people on the left that are mad about that debate. What are they mad about? Are they mad that Fetterman lost? Not really. I mean, they're not. They're mad that he even went out and debated in the first place. That's what they're mad about. They're mad that his handlers didn't hide him away like what happened with President Biden. That's what they're mad about. They're mad that they wasn't able to keep the wool pulled over the voters in Pennsylvania to get him elected. That's what they're mad about. It's not like you know what, maybe he's not better yet. It's been 6 months. The recovery time is supposed to be in that 6-month period. Obviously, there's something wrong. He's not going to be 100% whenever, he goes back. Obviously, we can't be doing this. We need to get somebody else who is able to do the job. We've got to have somebody on the bench in the Democrat Party that we can put in that seat, put them up for election. There's got to be somebody, anybody, there's got to be, but apparently there's not. Otherwise, they would have used them. They're mad that he got up on that stage and he failed. It was blatantly obvious that the man is having issues. He's got no business being there. And instead of going, we apologize for trying to lie to the people. We apologize for trying to mislead the constituents. That we apologize about that. And he shouldn't even been up there in the first place. I should have put somebody else like, hey, you know what? Maybe this is the guy that we wanted. Fetterman is amazing, but unfortunately he's having health issues. He has to step down. I'm going to be running in his stead. Instead of doing any of that, they try to pull the wool over and they're mad that he got out on that debate stage and let the world know the truth of his health. And their cover-up, not really their cover-up, their response to this whole thing has been, Oz took advantage. We're somehow picking on people that has had a stroke, that disabilities matter, yada, yada, blah, blah, all the bogus BS that they're talking about. It's ridiculous. Why is it ridiculous? Because, dude, one has nothing to do with the other. Dude, look, I used to work with handicapped kids a lot, in my younger days, in my youth. That was one of the things that my mom has done, is being a teacher's assistant for numerous years. So I've spent quite a few years, quite a bit of summers doing that. Okay. I'm not going to make fun of anybody in that type of a situation. I'm not making fun of him. I was really paying attention to him during that debate. Because I've had family members, like a lot of you people out there, that has had a stroke. It's not a fun thing to have to go through. It can't be. It's not easy on the family. It can't be good on the person who's going through it. And I was really paying attention to him because I have seen it in people how having the type of mishaps that he was having just be completely terrified about it. That, here I'm trying to say this, that, I'm trying to say this, but instead this is coming out of my mouth. It's just, I almost feel bad for the guy. But at the same time, how can I? Brian puts in there and goes, it doesn't pass the smell test. Well, you're right. None of this passes the smell test. Instead of putting out somebody who's capable of doing the job, they're putting this guy out who's not capable of doing the job. Who's the one making the decisions over him going out there? I don't know. If he has the mental acuity, then he should be stepping down because he is not capable of doing the job. If he doesn't have the mental acuity to know what's going on and doesn't realize that he should step down, then it's his handlers that put him in that position. And I don't feel sorry for any of them. And why should I feel sorry for Fetterman if he doesn't even have the mental wherewithal in order to know what the heck's going on? He's not going to care if I feel bad about him or not. He's not getting... Okay, there's a horrible joke. Absolutely horrible joke. Now look, let me premise this joke by going, I do not make fun of the handicap. Okay. I will, let me word this a little bit different. I don't make fun of retards. I will make fun of retardism because it's funny, but I don't make fun of the handicapped. I don't make fun of the person. Okay. I mean, come on, whenever you watch the Special Olympics and you got them hurdles out there, and if you're not laughing, then there's something wrong with you. Who cares? It's funny. I don't care. And guess what? They don't care either. Like I said, I've worked with handicapped kids for numerous years. There are several of them that to this day, love them to death. Great people. Holy crap. Love them. Absolutely. Do anything for them, and they would for me. I'll make fun of retardism, but I ain't going to make fun of a retard. So here's the joke, all right? This ought to put the whole premise, this whole aspect of why I don't exactly feel bad about him. Because if Fetterman has the wherewithal, the mental acuity to know, then he knows that he should step down. If he doesn't, the joke is, that people say that it's really easy to make fun of retards, and of which case I say, no, it isn't, because you really got to explain yourself. It's not that easy. You get the joke? They don't understand it. You have to explain it to them. You got to draw it out in crayons. Use a little bit of glue and glitter. If he doesn't have the mental acuity to understand that he don't belong up on that stage, then he ain't got the mental acuity to understand that he's getting picked on and made fun of. I don't really feel bad for him. I don't. I know that joke was horrible, but I don't care. I don't care if I get the hate. I don't care. Just hope YouTube doesn't want to cancel this account too, because I made that joke. It's a joke, people. It's not a dick. Don't take it so hard. Who? I got a chat over here. All right, Dave, he goes, hi, sorry, I was so happy to make it to the show. Oh, no. Oh, no. Dave puts, okay, now, dude, I am sorry for your luck. I really am. He puts in here, and he put this out here in the chat, so I gotta read it. I gotta read this because this is, I feel bad for you, but this is also kind of funny. You got, it's either laugh or cry, man, and I'm sure you understand that aspect. It's either laugh or cry. He goes, hi, sorry, I was so happy to make it to the show. Then when you took a break, I took a break too. Then one of my Apple earbuds fell into the toilet. So I spent the rest of the show on Amazon ordering stuff for my podcast. Craziness. I'm never wearing my headbuds in the bathroom again. Well, I'm glad you got stuff taken care of. That's good. And man, I tell you what, I cannot wait, to for the going forward of it. I'm definitely excited for you. I very much am. Just can't wait to hear. I'm not even sure if you've made another one. I know I listened to your most two recent ones, or at least the two that you did when you came back. I'm not sure if you got another one. I haven't seen a notification yet. I'll be looking after the show though. So yeah. Anyway, moving on. So I know that joke is horrible. But it's funny. If he ain't got the wherewithal to understand, he shouldn't be up there. He shouldn't be in that position at all. Now, here's the article that I thought I was looking into earlier. This one says, Obama warns democracy may not survive in Arizona if election deniers win. If election deniers win, huh? Now, I'm not talking about the last election, but this election. Oh, okay. So there is one more in there that I haven't seen yet. So 303. I've listened to 301 and 302. Haven't listened to 303 yet. I'm going to have to listen to that one. There's discrepancies. We need to get them fixed. Integrity is very, very important. Apparently, it's okay to deny the 2016 election results, and we won't talk about any other ones. It's okay for the election deniers whenever they're talking about, 2016. That's okay. Or any other time that a Republican has won. That's okay. That's okay to challenge the vote anytime a Republican wins. Because anytime a Republican wins, they always object, challenge. It's kind of standard practice for Democrats. That's what they do. And that's okay. That's fine. You should do that. I'm okay with that. I got no problem with that. But I bring up this article for one reason and one reason only. During this speech, and I'm assuming it's the one in Arizona. I'm thinking that was a video that I seen. You're hearing as plain as day the "Let's Go Brandon" chant while he was trying to give his speech. I thought that was hilarious. Boy, did I ever think that was hilarious. Because, I mean, that's the thing, man. With everything, with all of this crap, with this, the state of the economy, there's not a single Democrat out there that can run on their record. Not a single one of them. What have they done? What have they done? Nothing good. This headline from CBS News. This is a deeply emotional issue. Florida Governor DeSantis, this is a deeply emotional issue. Florida Governor DeSantis' handling of COVID-19 helped shape his re-election campaign. Absolutely, it did. And this article, nope, we're not going into that one right now. Nope, well, okay, I guess it is this one. One of the things that I am hearing whispers is with what the left is talking about. They're talking about COVID amnesty, okay? Which I find absolutely amazing. I really do. I find amazing. Because at least they're somewhat acknowledging that they screwed up. Because they do not want to be held accountable for the decisions that they made. Shutting down the economy, forcing people to stay home, shutting down businesses, some of them never to reopen again, shutting down the schools, lying about things all the time, sending people that were COVID positive into nursing homes. Their handling of all this. They're wanting amnesty for how they operated, for how they handled it, for completely screwing the pooch. That's what they're wanting right now. They don't want to be judged for the huge failure that they caused. It's like, why would I just ignore that? I mean, what? You want me to ignore everything that you did? All of it. And somehow give you a free pass to do it again? Are you kidding me? I'm supposed to reward that kind of behavior? No, I'm not going to do that. Nobody should do that. I mean, the least you can do is be honest with me instead of trying to tell me that the best way for me to help prevent me from getting monkeypox is to wear a mask over my face. How the heck is that going to help me from getting an STD? I have no idea. But instead of the stupidity that you're trying to shove down our throat, why don't you just be honest with us? Oh, wait. Then they would be relinquishing control, and they don't want to do that. This article, when Dems asked swing voters about January 6th and MAGA, this is great, as being the threat to democracy, they brought up the 2020 riots. We should not be forgetting about not only how the left handled Oh, okay. They need to be held accountable not only for how they handled January 6th, but they also need to be held accountable for all of the riots that happened that they did nothing about. The Summer of Love, 2020 riots, in most every major city across the U.S. The Chaz Zone or whatever the heck that thing was called. Seattle, Washington had all kinds of bad crap. They need to be held accountable. And they expect us to just forget about all of it. Now, my last article before I sign off. And this is from Raw Story. Headline, opinion, Trump ignores January 6th committee deadline. What he may do next is an even greater insult to the rule of law. I love this headline. Because I've heard rumors. I've heard other people. This is not my idea. I cannot nor will I even attempt to take credit for it. This is not me. But what they are saying, what they are expecting to happen and suspect that Donald Trump is going to do, that whenever he stands up there and responds to that subpoena to show up at the January 6th committee after the election, he is going to announce then and there that he's running for president. I've heard that as a possibility. And what bigger smack in the face could he possibly do to this illegitimate January 6th committee? It's illegitimate. I mean, let's not sugarcoat it. It's illegitimate. You're not hearing arguments from both sides. You're not hearing cross-examination. You're not hearing evidence from both sides. You're not hearing anything. All you're hearing for is a bunch of people that are either Democrats or rhino Republicans that are anti-Trumpers. That's all you're hearing from. That is everybody on that January 6th committee. It is a fraud. It is a sham. It is a show. They are not after truth. They are about propagating a narrative. And that's it. Just be honest about what's going on. But I've heard whispers, and somebody, I guess, close to the president, I don't exactly remember who, has basically said, without saying, that yes, former President Trump intends on running again in 2024. But I've heard other people say that, wouldn't it be great if that's when he announces? Whenever he goes on there for the January 6th committee and announces his campaign right then and there, that would be freaking amazing. Guys, that's all I got for you. That's it. That's it. We are ending it there. This Tuesday, let's do our part to stop dead in its tracks the Democrat agenda. Let's do our part to try to bring a common sense approach to government spending. And let's, most of all, hold these people accountable for what they do when they finally get to Washington. I'm not accepting I got to play by the Democrat rules because we have a Democrat in the White House, and I'm not accepting a go along to get along. I'm not going to do it. I ain't going to do it. And none of you should either. It's go time. We have to do everything we can to save it. We absolutely do. We have to get out and vote. We need to stop their agenda. We have, we're not going to be able to move anything else forward. We're not going to be able to put in our own agenda. It's never going to make it through the White House. I highly doubt we get a veto-proof majority. But we at least have to stop their agenda. Defund the 87,000 IRS agents. Defund the FBI. Defund the Department of Justice. These type of things we can do. Let's not be afraid to shut down the government whenever we don't go for the whole pork spending that they want to put in there and help out their own people and screw the American people. Let's hold them accountable. Dave and Facebook user says, amen, preach, brother. Thank you. Thank you very much. And hey, that reminds me. Let me type this back up again. chat.restream.io/Facebook. This link that I am putting in there. Facebook is kind of weird on things. We're going to say that I'm going to say this, and then we're going to get out of here. For some reason, and I don't know why, but I do not see names of people. Their little logo, their little avatar thingy. I don't see any of that in my Restream chat. So is what we can do. All it comes up with is Facebook user. That's all it gives me. So what we can do now. I invite you to do this. If you want to, great. If not, I totally understand. But if you head to chat.restream.io/Facebook, that is in the chat on the YouTubes and the Facebooks and the Twitters. If you head there and you connect your Facebook account to Restream.io, then apparently it will give me that, which is kind of cool. That's actually kind of nice. This way I can see who's in there and I can say hi to you. So yeah, if you would like to, head over there and do that. If not, that's okay too. So guys, that is all I got. I appreciate y'all stopping by. I really, really do. And yeah, get out there and vote. Tuesday is the day. Get out there and vote. Make your voices heard. That's all I got. Y'all have a good one. Oh, crap. I'm on the wrong screen. Of course I am. All right. Till next time.
This has been The Ho Ho Show. For more information, you can head to thehohoshow.com. And for the merchandise store, you can head on over to stinkpickle.com. That is stinkpickle.com. Until next time.